Captain Jake Morrison stared at the blinking screen in front of him. The red lights flashed faster than his heartbeat. Something was wrong. Very wrong. "Lisa, get over here now," he called across the command center of Earth's Defense Station Alpha. The space station floated quietly above Earth, watching for any signs of alien ships. For 3 months now, they had been alone. The aliens who called themselves the Galactic Federation had put Earth in a box. They said humans were too dangerous to be allowed into space. Dr. Lisa Hayes ran to Jake's side. Her long brown hair bounced as she moved. She was the best at understanding alien languages on the station, maybe the best on Earth. "What is it, Jake?" she asked, looking at his screen. "We're getting a signal, not from Earth, not from anywhere in our solar system." Jake pointed at the strange symbols scrolling across his monitor. "It's alien, and it's not from the Federation." Lisa sat down at the station next to him. Her fingers moved quickly over the keyboard. More symbols appeared on her screen. She frowned as she read them. This is a distress call," she said slowly. "Someone is asking for help." Jake leaned forward. "Are you sure?" "Yes, but the language is broken. Whoever sent this doesn't speak Galactic Standard very well." Lisa continued reading. Her face grew pale. "They're talking about their entire world being destroyed. Their people are being killed." Across the command center, other officers stopped their work to listen. The room became very quiet. For months, Earth had been cut off from the galaxy. They knew almost nothing about what was happening out there. "Can you clean up the signal?" "Get clearer," Jake asked. Lisa nodded and began working. The alien words became easier to understand. What they heard made everyone in the room feel sick. The message was from someone named Zektar. He was the commander of the last free ships from a world called Kepler 4-4-B. His people were called the Villani. They were peaceful. They had never hurt anyone. But now, an empire called the Krex was destroying everything they had ever built. "They're killing us all," the message said in broken Galactic Standard. "Our children, our elders, everyone. The galaxy will not help. They say we are not important. Please, if anyone hears this, we need help. We are the last," the message repeated. Over and over. Each time it played, the people in the command center felt worse. "How many Villani are left?" Jake asked. Lisa checked her computer. The message says, maybe 50,000. On a few ships, that's all that's left of their entire species. Lieutenant Tom Garcia, the station's communications officer, shook his head. 50,000 people from an entire world. Jake stood up and walked to the big window that looked out at Earth. The blue and white planet looked so peaceful from here. It was hard to believe that somewhere in the galaxy, an entire group of people was about to disappear forever. "Sir," said Sergeant Amy Collins from her post. "Should we report this to Earth Defense Command?" Jake thought for a moment. Admiral Frank Butler was in charge of protecting Earth. He would want to know about this. But Jake already knew what the answer would be. Earth was not allowed to leave their solar system. Federation had made that very clear. Yes, send it to the Admiral. He needs to hear this. 20 minutes later, Admiral Butler's face appeared on the main screen. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. 3 months of being trapped in their own solar system had been hard on everyone, but especially on him. "I've heard the message, Captain Morrison," Butler said. "It's terrible, but there's nothing we can do. The Federation was very clear. If we leave our solar system, they will consider it an act of war." "Sir, we're talking about the complete destruction of an entire species," Jake said. "These Villani people have done nothing wrong. They're being murdered." Butler was quiet for a long moment. "Captain, I understand how you feel. But we have to think about Earth, about our own people. If we help the Villani, the Federation might attack us." Lisa stepped forward. "Admiral, I've been listening to their communications. Krex Empire's huge. If they finish destroying the Villani, who do you think they'll target next?" "What do you mean, Doctor?" "I mean that bullies don't stop with one victim. The Krex are destroying the Villani because they can, because no one will stop them. Don't help now. Someday they might come for us." Admiral Butler rubbed his forehead. "Even if that's true, what can we do? We have maybe 20 ships that can travel between stars. The Krex Empire probably has thousands. Jake looked at his crew. They were all watching him. These were good people. They had joined Earth Defense to protect their world and their families. But now they were being asked to watch while innocent people died. "Sir, request permission to speak freely," Jake said. "Go ahead, Captain." 3 months ago, the Federation told us we were too dangerous to be allowed into space. They said we were violent, that we came from a death world, that we were different from everyone else in the galaxy. Jake paused. Maybe they were right. Maybe we are different. But maybe. That's exactly what the galaxy needs right now. The communication channel was quiet. Everyone waited for Admiral Butler to respond. Finally, the Admiral spoke. "I'll need to talk to the President and the Joint Chiefs. This decision is too big for me to make alone." "Yes, sir." "But Admiral, what is it, Captain? How long do we have?" "How long before the Villani are all gone?" Lisa checked her instruments again. "Based on their last message, maybe 3 days? 4 at most." Admiral Butler closed his eyes. When he opened them again, Jake could see something had changed. "Captain Morrison, prepare your station for possible combat operations. Dr. Hayes, want you to send a message back to the Villani. Tell them that help might be coming." "What should I tell them about who we are?" Lisa asked. Butler smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had made a hard decision. "Tell them we're from Earth. Tell them we're humans. And tell them that if the galaxy thinks we're too dangerous to be free, maybe it's time to show them what dangerous really looks like." The communication ended. Jake looked around at his crew. They were scared, but they were also excited. For 3 months, they had felt trapped and helpless. Now maybe they could do something that mattered. Outside the station's windows, Earth continued to turn slowly in space. Soon, the people of Earth would have to decide who they really were. Were they going to hide in their solar system forever? Or were they going to show the galaxy what humans could do when innocent people needed help? The answer would change everything. 2 days after the alien message arrived, Earth looked like a world preparing for war. Ships that had been in storage for months were being loaded with weapons and supplies. Soldiers who had never expected to fight aliens were getting ready to travel to another star system. Colonel Beth Parker stood in the main hangar of the UES Liberty, watching her Marines load their gear. These were not ordinary soldiers. They were trained to fight in the worst places Earth could offer. Hot deserts, frozen mountains, deep ocean floors. Now, they would fight in space, on alien worlds, against enemies they had never seen before. "Colonel, are you really sure about this?" asked Lieutenant Mike Torres, one of her squad leaders. He was loading power armor that could keep a human alive on the surface of Mars. "We don't know anything about these Krex aliens. We don't know how they fight." Beth looked at him with steady eyes. "Mike, I've read the reports. The Krex have been destroying peaceful worlds for years. The galaxy does nothing because they're afraid." "Well, we're not afraid, but what if we can't win?" Beth smiled. "Then we'll make sure they remember fighting us. And maybe that will be enough to make them think twice before they attack someone else." On the bridge of the Liberty, Admiral Frank Butler watched Earth get smaller in the main view screen. The huge ship was leading a fleet of 23 vessels. It was the largest force Earth had ever sent into space. But compared to what they might face, it was very small. "Captain Nick." Carter's voice came over the communication system. "Admiral, the fighter squadrons are ready. All pilots are in position." Nick was flying one of Earth's newest fighter ships, the Hawk class. It was fast, hard to hit, and carried weapons that could punch through alien armor. Most importantly, it was built by humans who understood air combat. Most alien species had never had to fight in the air. They went straight from ground warfare to space combat. Humans had spent centuries learning to fight in 3 dimensions. "Thank you, Captain Carter. Stay close to the main fleet until we know what we're facing?" "Yes, sir." "Admiral, if I may ask, do we know where we're going exactly?" Admiral Butler looked at the star charts on his screen. Dr. Hayes has been tracking the Villani distress signals. "They're coming from a system about 40 light years from here. At maximum speed, we'll be there in 6 hours. And the Krex, we'll find out when we get there." In the engineering section of the Liberty, Commander Ryan Walsh was making final checks on the ship's weapons. Ryan was in charge of special operations. His job was to think of ways to fight that the enemy would never expect. "Commander," said Chief Engineer Lisa Park, "I'm worried about our weapons. We built these ships too. Fight other human ships. Alien ships might be completely different." Ryan nodded. "That's true. But remember, our weapons are designed to work in Earth's conditions. High gravity, bad weather, electronic interference. Alien weapons might be more advanced, but they're probably also more fragile." "What do you mean?" "Think about it. Most alien worlds are probably easier to live on than Earth, so their weapons don't need to be as tough. Our guns might be older technology, but they'll work even if they get damaged." Lisa looked at the missile racks being loaded into the launch tubes. "I hope you're right. Me too." The first sign of trouble came when the human fleet was still 2 hours away from the Villani system. Captain Jake Morrison, now commanding the scout ship U.S. Ranger, detected massive energy readings ahead. "Admiral, we have a problem," Jake reported. "Over the communication channel, I'm reading at least 60 large ships in the target system. They're not Villani ships, corrects?" Admiral Butler asked. "Has to be. The energy signatures are all wrong for anything friendly." Dr. Lisa Hayes, who had transferred to the Liberty to help with alien communications, worked frantically at her station. "Admiral, I'm picking up Villani transmissions. They're very weak. I think they're hiding somewhere in the system. Can you locate them?" "Working on it. The signals are coming from... It looks like they're hiding in an asteroid field near the 4th planet." Admiral Butler studied the tactical display. 60 enemy ships between his small fleet and the people they had come to save. The smart thing to do would be to turn around and go home. That would mean watching an entire species die. "All ships. This is Admiral Butler. We are about to engage a superior enemy force. Our job is not to win a space battle. Our job is to save the Villani people and get them out of here alive. Remember, we didn't come here to conquer anyone. We came here to help." First Krex patrol ships detected the human fleet 30 minutes later. There were 3 of them, each one larger than any human ship. They moved to intercept, probably expecting to scare away whoever was foolish enough to enter their territory. Captain Carter, flying ahead of the main fleet, got the first look at alien warships designed for real combat. They were long, sleek, and covered with weapons. They looked like they had been built by people who thought war was an art form. "Admiral, the Krex ships are beautiful," he reported. "They looked very dangerous." "How dangerous, Captain?" "Each one of those ships has more firepower than our entire fleet." Admiral Butler was quiet for a moment. Around him, the bridge crew waited for orders. These people had volunteered to travel 40 light years from home to help strangers. They deserved a leader who would not waste their courage. "All ships, prepare for combat. Remember, we're not here to fight fair. We're here to win." The first battle between humans and aliens began 3 minutes later. The Krex ships approached in perfect formation, their weapons charging with visible energy. They had probably done this same thing hundreds of times before. Find primitive ships, destroy them, continue with their mission. But they had never fought humans before. Captain Carter led his fighter squadron in from an unexpected angle, diving toward the Krex ships from above and behind. The aliens, who were expecting a traditional space battle between large ships, were caught completely off guard. Human missiles, designed to work in Earth's thick atmosphere, punched through Krex shields that were built to stop energy weapons. Human fighters, flown by pilots who had learned to fight in Earth's dangerous skies, moved in ways that confused alien targeting systems. The first Krex ship exploded in less than 2 minutes. The second one tried to run, but human ships were built for speed as well as combat. The third Krex ship managed to send a warning message before it was destroyed. "Admiral," reported Captain Morrison from the Ranger, "we just got their attention. The main Krex fleet is moving toward us." "All 60 ships." Admiral Butler looked at his small fleet. 23 ships against 60. His people were brave, but they were not stupid. This was going to be the hardest fight of their lives. All ships form up for battle. Dr. Hayes, send a message to the Villani. Tell them the cavalry has arrived. What's cavalry? Asked Lieutenant Torres over the communication channel. Admiral Butler smiled. It's an old Earth tradition, Lieutenant. When things look hopeless, the cavalry shows up to save the day. And if we can't save the day, then we make sure the Kreks remember that they messed with the wrong species. Outside the ship's windows, the stars looked the same as they always had, but everything was about to change. Earth's children were about to show the galaxy. What happened when humans decided to fight for something they believed in? The main Krek's fleet was 15 minutes away and closing fast. Admiral Vextel of the Kreks Empire looked at his tactical display and laughed. 23 small ships had just destroyed 3 of his patrol vessels. It was embarrassing but not worrying. He commanded 200 warships. These newcomers, whoever they were, would be nothing more than target practice. Commander Drakel, what do we know about these ships? Vextel asked his second-in-command. Very little, Admiral. They appeared from the direction of a quarantined system. The energy signatures are primitive. Chemical rockets, nuclear reactors, metal projectile weapons. Nothing we haven't seen before. Vexel nodded. Probably another species trying to play hero. How many times have we seen this? Some young civilization hears about our glorious expansion and thinks they can stop us. Shall the First order the fleet to destroy them quickly? No. Let them come closer. I want to capture some of their ships. The Emperor likes to see the faces of those foolish enough to oppose us. But Admiral Vextel had made his first mistake. He thought humans fought like every other species in the galaxy. He was wrong. On the UES Liberty, Admiral Butler watched the Kreks fleet approach. Alien ships moved in perfect formation like they were performing in a parade. Each ship was in exactly the right position. Their weapons all pointed forward. Everything was organized and predictable. Colonel Parker, are your Marines ready? Butler asked over the communication system. Yes, sir. All drop pods are loaded and ready for launch. Butler smiled. Drop pods were something humans had invented for landing soldiers on hostile planets. Most alien species used shuttles that landed gently at spaceports. Humans shot their soldiers at planets in armored capsules that could survive hitting the ground at high speed. Captain Carter, I want your fighters to make the Kreks angry. Attack their formation and then run away. Make them chase you. Sir, if they chase us, we'll be outnumbered 100 to 1. That's the idea, Captain. We want them to break formation. Once they do that, they'll be fighting our kind of battle. The human attack began in a way that shocked every Kreks commander. Instead of the 2 fleets lining up and shooting at each, other human fighters suddenly appeared from 6 different directions at once. They had used the asteroid field and the planet's gravity to hide their approach. Captain Carter led the main attack. Diving straight at the Kreks flagship, his fighters moved in patterns that made no sense to alien minds. They rolled, twisted, and changed direction constantly. Kreks, targeting computers, designed to hit ships that moved predictably, couldn't lock onto targets that flew like they were insane. Human missiles hit Krek ships before the aliens could return fire, but the humans didn't stay to fight. As soon as they fired their weapons, they disappeared back into the asteroid field. What are they doing? Demanded Admiral Vextel. Stand and fight like warriors. But humans didn't fight like warriors. They fought like survivors. The Kreks fleet tried to follow the human fighters into the asteroid field. Now, this was their second mistake. Humans had grown up on a planet where rocks fell from the sky all the time. Flying through an asteroid field was dangerous. But human pilots had trained for dangerous their entire lives. The Kreks had not. Within 10 minutes, 6 Krek ships had been destroyed by asteroids they couldn't avoid. Their beautiful formation was broken. Ships were scattered across the system, trying to chase human fighters that appeared and disappeared like ghosts. That's when Admiral Gwayler ordered the real attack to begin. All ships engage at close range. Colonel Parker, launch all Marines. It's time to show them what boarding actions look like. General Sam Torres, leading the ground assault teams, had never expected to fight inside alien spaceships. But human soldiers were adaptable. They had trained to fight in cities, jungles, deserts, and frozen wastelands. Fighting inside a spaceship was just another environment to master. The first human boarding pods hit, like meteorites. The aliens had shields that could stop energy weapons, but they had never seen anything like human drop pods. Metal capsules filled with angry Marines smashed through alien holes and opened up inside enemy ships. Lieutenant Amy Foster led her squad through the corridors of a Krex C-RUI-SER. The aliens inside had never fought an enemy that could appear inside their own ship. They panicked. "These passages are too narrow," complained Private Jones. "How do these aliens move around in here?" "They're not built for fighting," Amy replied, checking her rifle. "Their ships are built for intimidation, not combat." The Krex crew tried to fight back, but they had only ever fought battles where everyone followed the same rules. Humans didn't follow rules. They fought to win. Captain Dan Brooks in his engineering teams performed miracles that day. When human ships were damaged, they didn't retreat to space docks for months of repairs. They fixed themselves, using whatever they could find. Brooks' team took apart destroyed Krex fighters and used their parts to repair human ships. When the Liberty's main cannon was damaged, they rebuilt it using alien technology and human ingenuity. The result was a weapon that was more powerful than either species had built alone. Admiral reported Commander Walsh from his Special Operations post. "We're getting reports from all over the battlefield. The Krex don't know how to fight this kind of battle." "What do you mean?" "Sir, they keep trying to retreat and regroup. But every time they pull back, our fighters hit them again. They're used to fighting enemies who retreat when they're losing. We just keep attacking." The tide of battle turned when Lieutenant Amy Foster's squad reached the bridge of a Krex cruiser. The alien officers inside had never seen humans before. They were terrified by the sight of creatures in powered armor who had somehow appeared. Inside their most secure location, "Surrender," Amy said in the few words of Krex language she had learned. "Your ship is ours." The Krex captain looked at her with 4 eyes that showed complete confusion. No, his years of conquest, no enemy had ever taken control of one of his ships. It was impossible. It was against all the rules of civilized warfare, but humans had never been civilized. By galactic standards, within 3 hours, the Battle of Kepler 4-4b was over. The mighty Krex fleet, which had been destroying the Villani homeworld for weeks, was scattered. 60 ships had been reduced to 20, and most of those were trying to escape the system as fast as possible. Admiral Vextel, his flagship crippled and his fleet destroyed, sent a final message before his ship exploded. "What are you?" he asked. "What kind of monsters fight like this?" Admiral Butler answered him personally. "We're humans, from a planet that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We learned to fight everything: volcanoes, ice ages, predators, diseases, and each other. You picked the wrong species to mess with." On the surface of Kepler 4-4b, Villani survivors came out of their hiding places to see human soldiers walking. Through their ruined cities, aliens looked at these strange creatures with wonder and gratitude. Young Kriva, one of the few Villani children left alive, approached Colonel Parker with curiosity instead of fear. "Are you really from the Death World?" she asked, in broken galactic standard. Colonel Parker knelt down to the child's level and smiled. "Yes, we are, but don't worry. We'll only use our dangerous side on bullies." The rescue of the Villani was complete. But the real consequences were just beginning. Across the galaxy, every species had heard about the battle. The humans had not just won, they had made it look easy. The quarantine around Earth's solar system suddenly seemed less like protection for the galaxy, more like protection for everyone else. The Krex Empire's reign of terror was over. Now the galaxy had to deal with something even more frightening: humans who fought not for conquest, but for justice. And there was no containing that. The news traveled across the galaxy faster than light itself. In less than 24 hours, every species in known space had heard the impossible story. The humans, the quarantined Deathworlders, had destroyed a Krex fleet. Not just defeated it, completely destroyed it. High Chancellor Quindor of the Galactic Federation stood in his office on the capital world of Zentara Prime, staring at the reports flooding in from across the galaxy. His forearms shook as he read each new message. Fear was something the Chancellor had not felt in centuries. "This cannot be accurate," he said to his aide, a nervous creature named Biltok. "The humans had 23 ships. The Kreks had 200. Sir, we have confirmed reports from 17 different sources. The battle lasted only 3 hours. The Kreks Empire is in complete chaos. Admiral Vextel is dead. Its entire battle fleet is gone." Chancellor Quindor walked to his window and looked out at the peaceful city below. Centauri Prime had not seen war in 1,000 years. Neither had most of the galaxy. The Galactic Federation had created peace by making rules that everyone followed, but humans didn't seem to care about rules, Sir Biltok continued. "We're receiving emergency calls from 43 different species. They all want the same thing, which is, they want us to destroy Earth before the humans can attack anyone else." The Chancellor closed his eyes. "What do our military advisors say?" "They say it might already be too late." On Earth, President Maria Santos sat in the Oval Office, reading reports from Admiral Butler's fleet. The victory at Kepler 4-4, to be should, have been cause for celebration. Instead, it had created the biggest crisis in human history. "Madam President," said her advisor, General Robert Clark, "we're receiving thousands of messages from across the galaxy. Most of them are threats." "What kind of threats?" "Everything from economic boycotts to complete extermination. 40 species have joined something called the Anti-Human Coalition. They're demanding that we return to quarantine immediately." President Santos rubbed her temples. 3 months ago, humanity's biggest problem had been convincing the galaxy to let them join galactic civilization. The galaxy was terrified of them. "What about our new allies? The Villani. They're supporting us completely, but they're just one species, and they're not very powerful. We also have support from a few other species that the Kreks had been threatening, but it's not enough." The president looked at the star charts on her wall. Earth seemed so small compared to the galaxy around it. But somehow, that small blue planet had managed to scare civilizations that were thousands of years older. "General, what's the military situation? Not good?" "Intelligence suggests the coalition is planning a preemptive strike. They want to hit us before we can build more ships." "How much time do we have?" "Maybe 2 weeks, maybe less, Ambassador John." Miller, humanity's first representative to the Galactic Federation, stood before an assembly of over 300 species. The Great Hall in Centauri Prime had never seen such a gathering. Every major species in the galaxy had sent representatives to discuss the human problem. "Honorable delegates," John began, speaking into a translator that would convert his words into hundreds of different languages. "I stand before you today not as a conqueror, but as a representative of a species that simply wanted to help." The reaction was immediate. Dozens of species began shouting at once. The translator struggled to keep up with all the different voices. Silence. "You will hear what the human has to say." Chancellor Quindor's voice boomed across the hall. John continued. 3 days ago, we received a distress call from a dying species. The Villani people were being murdered by the Kreks Empire. We asked for help from this assembly. We were told that intervention was impossible. The Kreks Empire was too powerful, spoke Chancellor Quindor. Any military action would have resulted in massive casualties across multiple systems. So you decided that an entire species should die because saving them was inconvenient? The hall erupted again. Species that had never raised their voices were screaming at each other. Some supported the human position. Others demanded immediate action against Earth. "Oh, the humans are too dangerous," shouted Ambassador Klex of the Thorian Republic. "They destroyed 200 ships without suffering significant losses. What happens when they decide they don't like our trade policies? What happens when they want our planets?" John looked directly at the Thorian ambassador. "What makes you think we want your planets? We already have one. It's more dangerous and hostile than anything you've ever seen, and we call it home. Then why did you leave it? Because someone asked for help. Because the right thing to do is not always the safe thing to do." Far from the political debates, Commander Luke Harrison was leading a very different kind of mission. His Special Forces team had been sent to gather intelligence on the anti-human coalition. What they found was worse than anyone had expected. "Admiral Butler, this is Harrison." He reported from his stealth ship hidden near the coalition's main base. "You need to see this." "What have you found, Commander?" Sir, they're not just planning to attack our fleet. They're building planet killers. Weapons designed to destroy entire worlds from space. Admiral Butler felt his blood run cold. How many? At least 12? Maybe more. Sir, they're planning to sterilize Earth completely. Every human city, every military base, everything. When intelligence suggests they'll attack during the peace conference next week. While our diplomats are talking, their fleet will hit Earth with everything they have. The communication channel was quiet for a long moment. Finally, Admiral Butler spoke. Commander, get back to Earth immediately. We have work to do. Dr. Alex Chen, Earth's lead scientist in alien technology research, had been working around the clock since the fleet returned. From Kepler 440b, the human victory had given them access to advanced Krex equipment, and Alex was determined to learn everything possible from it. What have you found? Asked General Clark, visiting the research facility. Amazing things, Alex replied, showing him a weapon that seemed to be made of both human and alien parts. Krex energy weapons are more powerful than ours, but they're also more fragile. Our weapons are cruder, but they keep working even when damaged. Can we combine them? We already have. This rifle uses Krex power cells but human firing mechanisms. It's twice as powerful as either technology alone. Alex led the general to another section of the lab. But the real breakthrough is this. She showed him plans for a new kind of spaceship. It was larger than anything humans had built before, but it incorporated lessons learned from fighting the Krex. We call it the Unity class. It's designed for one purpose: to defend Earth against impossible odds. How many can we build? Every shipyard on Earth working at maximum capacity. It's maybe 50 in the next 2 weeks. General Clark looked at the plans. 50 ships against an enemy that could bring thousands. The odds were terrible, but humans had faced terrible odds before. Dr. Chen, what do you think our chances are? Alex smiled. General. 3 months ago, the galaxy thought we were too dangerous to be allowed into space. 2 weeks ago, we proved them right by saving an entire species. Now they want to destroy us because they're afraid of what we might do next. That doesn't answer my question. Sir, I think they should be afraid. We didn't ask to be born on a death world. We didn't ask to be the only species that fights like we do. But if they want to see what we're really capable of, we'll show them. President Santos made her decision that evening, standing before the United Nations, then broadcasting. To the entire galaxy, she delivered a message that would be remembered for centuries. To the species of the galaxy who threaten Earth, I say this: we came in peace. We fought for peace. We offered friendship to those who would accept it. But if you choose to see us as enemies, then you will learn why the galaxy was right to fear us. We are the children of a world that tried to kill us every day. We survived ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, and diseases that would destroy most species. We survived by being too stubborn to die and too angry to give up. You want to destroy our world because you think we're dangerous? You're right. We are dangerous. But only to those who prey on the innocent. The message ended with a simple statement that sent chills across the galaxy. Earth will not return to quarantine. Earth will not surrender. Earth will not stand by while bullies destroy the innocent. If you want a war, you'll get one. But remember, you asked for it. The coalition fleet began moving toward Earth the next day, but they had no idea what was waiting for them. Fleet Admiral Kate Robinson stood on the bridge of the new flagship U.S. Defiance, watching the largest enemy fleet in galactic history approach Earth's solar system. 2,000 ships from 40 different species, all united by one goal: the complete destruction of humanity. Admiral reported Captain Morrison from his position at the tactical station. Enemy fleet will reach Earth's orbit in 6 hours. Kate nodded calmly. She had been chosen to command Earth's defense because she understood something that many military leaders forgot. Sometimes the best defense was making the enemy afraid to attack. Captain Carter, status on the fighter squadrons? All ready? Admiral, we have 300 fighters hidden throughout the asteroid belt. Another 200 on the far side of the moon. Good, Commander Walsh. What about our special surprises? Ryan Walsh smiled. Everything is in position. The enemy thinks they're attacking a helpless planet. They're about to learn that Earth's entire solar system is now a weapon. Coalition. Fleet, led by Admiral Korth of the Zentari Empire, approached Earth with complete confidence. Their intelligence said the humans had maybe 50 ships to defend their homeworld. The coalition had 40 times that number. Admiral Korth reported. His tactical officer were detecting unusual energy readings throughout the system. What kind of readings? Unknown, sir. The signatures don't match any known technology. Admiral Korth was not worried. Unknown technology from a primitive species could not threaten the combined might of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. Begin the bombardment as soon as we reach optimal range. Want this over quickly. But Admiral Korth had made the same mistake as everyone else who had fought humans. He assumed they would fight like every other species in the galaxy. The first surprise came when the coalition fleet reached Mars. The red planet suddenly came alive with weapons that had been hidden beneath its surface. Massive railguns built, using mining equipment, began firing projectiles at incredible speeds. What is happening? Demanded Admiral Korth, as his formation took heavy damage from weapons that shouldn't exist. Sir, the humans have turned their entire solar system into a fortress. Mars, the asteroid belt, even their moon, everything is armed. Dr. Alex Chen watched the battle from Earth's command center. Her hybrid human-alien technology was performing perfectly. Coalition ships were designed to fight energy weapons. They had no defense against solid projectiles fired from planets and asteroids. Admiral Robinson, she reported, the new Unity-class ships are ready for deployment. Launch them. 50 new human warships emerged from hidden positions around Earth. They were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, sleek, fast, and deadly. Each one incorporated the best of human engineering and captured alien technology. Captain Dan Brooks commanded one of the Unity ships, the U's Hope. His crew was a mix of humans and Volani volunteers who had insisted on fighting alongside their rescuers, all Unity ships. This is Admiral Robinson. Remember, our job is not to destroy the enemy fleet. Our job is to make them understand that attacking Earth was a mistake. The coalition expected a traditional space battle. Instead, they got chaos. Human fighters appeared from every direction at once. Ships that had been hidden behind asteroids suddenly attacked from impossible angles. The carefully planned formation that Admiral Korth had spent months organizing fell apart in minutes. But the real shock came when other species began joining the human side. Commander Zektar, now leading a rebuilt Volani fleet, attacked the coalition's rear guard. This is for every innocent person the coalition has abandoned, he broadcast on all frequencies. Then came the Talaxians, whose homeworld had been threatened by the Kreks before the humans intervened. Then the Benthans, who had been enslaved by coalition members for centuries. One by one, species that had been oppressed by the galaxy's civilized powers joined the fight. Sergeant Mike Johnson, now commanding integrated human-alien ground forces, led boarding parties against coalition flagships. The sight of humans and aliens fighting together as equals inspired resistance movements across the galaxy. This is impossible, Admiral Korth said, as his fleet began to fall apart around him. How are they coordinating so many different species? His communication officer had the answer. Sir, we're intercepting messages in dozens of languages. They're all saying the same thing. Fight for freedom. Fight like humans. The coalition's defeat was so complete that it shocked even the human commanders. Within 8 hours, 2,000 ships had been reduced to less than 300. Most of those were trying to surrender or escape. Admiral Korth, his flagship disabled and his fleet destroyed, sent a final message to Admiral Robinson. What do you want? He asked. What are your terms for conquest? Kate Robinson's answer surprised everyone listening. We don't want conquest. We want justice. We want a galaxy where peaceful species don't have to fear bullies. We want the same thing we've always wanted to help. 6 months later, the galaxy looked very different. The old Galactic Federation had collapsed, replaced by the new Galactic Compact. The headquarters was no longer on Zentara Prime, but on New Geneva Station. humanity's first space city built beyond Earth's solar system. Admiral Morrison, now commanding the integrated galactic fleet, stood on the bridge of the flagship U.S. Unity. Around him worked officers from dozens of different species, all united by a common belief that strength should protect the innocent, not prey upon them. Admiral reported Lieutenant Amy Foster, now serving as his tactical officer.
Us.
We're receiving a distress call from the Kepler system.
Us.
A species called the Drakmari is being attacked by pirates. Morrison smiled. How long to get there? 6 hours at maximum speed, sir. Then let's go save some people. Beside him, Zekdar served as his cultural advisor. The Volani commander had become humanity's closest ally and best friend among the stars. Jake Zekdar said, using the human custom of first names among friends. Do you ever think about how different things might have been if you hadn't answered our distress call? Morrison looked out at the fleet accompanying them, ships from 30 different species, all flying together under the banner of the new Galactic Compact. All committed to the idea that no innocent person should die alone while others have the power to help. I think the galaxy is exactly where it's supposed to be, he replied. On New Geneva Station, human and alien children played together in the parks while their parents worked side by side to explore the galaxy. The station was humanity's first permanent home among the stars. But it felt like home to species from dozens of worlds. Young Kriva, now older and serving as a junior diplomat, often told visitors the story of how humans had saved her people. But she always ended with the same message. They didn't save us because we were useful to them. They didn't save us because we could pay them back. They saved us because it was the right thing to do. That's what makes them special. That's what makes them human. The galaxy had feared humanity because they came from a death world. They had tried to quarantine them because they were too dangerous. They had tried to destroy them because they were too different. But in the end, the galaxy learned something important. Sometimes dangerous is exactly what the universe needs. Sometimes the most frightening thing about a species is not their capacity for violence, but their refusal to accept injustice. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. It had not forced anyone to accept their way of life. It had simply shown everyone what was possible when people chose to fight for something bigger than themselves. The stars looked the same as they always had. But now, when the innocent cried out for help in the darkness, someone answered. Someone who had learned long ago that survival meant more than just staying alive. It meant making sure that others could live too. The Deathworlders had become the galaxy's guardians. The universe was a better place because of it. In the end, that was the most human thing of all. Taking something terrible and making it into something good.